how to knit a pennant banner. Hi guys, I'm Kristen and thank you for joining me here on Studio Knit, where I am continuing the summer knit series with 4th of July upon us. I am creating this banner in the colors of red, white, and blue. You can get creative with your own yarn colors to create festively for any other holiday as well. This is an easy level project, perfect for anyone who's completed my Absolute Beginner Knitting series, and all we're doing are knits and yarn over increases. The triangle shapes are knitted flat from the bottom up, and you're increasing your stitches to create your triangle. And the two sides of the triangle have a really pretty airy eyelet border. Our isosceles triangle is about 8 inches high in my sample here, and then each side is about 9 inches. And once you're ready to bind off, we're doing the stretchy bind off. It allows it to lie nice and flat. You'll see that using solid yarn, it's a garter stitch pattern and it is totally reversible. And if you create yours knitting in stripes, one side, the right side, will look perfect, but it's not reversible because on the back side, the wrong side, it's not really the side that you want people to see. And to make this extra patriotic, I am adding a star embellishment to mine. I will have the link to the free video and knitting pattern for you in the description below. And of course, the free written pattern for this pennant banner is available over on my website. Email subscribers can also download a printable PDF as well. And while you're over there, check out my entire summer knit series. I love coming up with really creative ideas where we can keep knitting during the warm months of summer. I think you'll find a project that is perfect for you this time of year. And if you enjoy this free knitting pattern idea, please like up this video and of course subscribe to my channel here at Studio Knit. For our materials, starting with knitting needles, I'm using size 11. You can use any size you'd like. Of course, scissors and a tapestry needle. And my yarn, I'm using red, white, and blue. And again, you can get really creative and customize your banner with any color or yarn size that you'd like. The yarn I'm using today is from Bernat. It's a great outdoor yarn. It comes in both solids and striped. They've grafted a really great color change for us here, but for my purposes, I'm going to cut that and use this as 2 different yarn colors. And I also went ahead and got this red yarn color, and this outdoor yarn by Bernat is really cool because you can keep it outside. It doesn't fade, and if it gets wet outside, it doesn't get moldy either. So I am probably going to be using this for a future yarn bomb as well. Okay, let's knit it up. To begin, we start with our beloved slip knot. Using the long tail cast on method, we're going to begin by casting on 3 stitches, and that is the bottom little point of our triangle. Row 1 of our 4-row repeat is K1. That is knitting 1 stitch. Now the next is YO, that's yarn over, and what we do with our working yarn here, we're going to pass it behind and then in the middle of our 2 needles. We're creating an increase. So we're going to knit the next stitch, and that yarn over right there creates our increase. So where we had 2 stitches, now we are increasing toward the right on row 1 here, and we finish off knitting all the way to the end. In this case, there's only 1 knit stitch to go. Now row 2 is very simple. We are just knitting all of those stitches, and this is on the wrong side of our work. Row 3, we're going to knit all the way until we just have 1 last stitch remaining. So K, of course, it means knit, and we are going to knit all the way down our row right here on row 3 until we have one last stitch there on our left needle. So now we're going to yarn over. That's bringing that working yarn around to the front to create our increase, and then we finish up by knit 1. We take that yarn around, we create our increase with the yarn over, and now we are increasing, slanting on the left side of our little triangle. And of course, row 4, very simple. It is simply knitting all of those stitches there on the back side, the wrong side of your work. And here's how it's looking after those 4 rows. Let's do that repeat again. So row 1, we knit 1, we yarn over, and then we are knitting all the way to the end. Row 2, we are knitting all of our stitches all the way down the row. And then on row 3, we are knitting all the way to the last stitch. So I'm knitting all the way down until there's one last stitch there on the left. We yarn over, knit 1 stitch. There's our increase on row 3. And then we just finish up row 4 by knitting all stitches. And that's all there is to it. Now, if you're using a solid yarn, you just repeat all 4 rows. If you're going to do stripes, let me just show you how to do that. The pattern is exactly the same. I am going to add my yarn color right there on knit 1, bringing it around, yarn over, and then we're going to knit to the end. Row 2, we're just knitting all stitches. We get to row 3 and we're knitting all the way to that last stitch there, and then we are yarning over and we are going to knit 1. And then finishing it up, our series of 4 rows, row 4 is just knit all stitches. And either as you go or at the end, you will need to weave in your yarn ends, especially if you're changing yarn colors. You'll have a lot of different little yarn ends that you'll want to weave in, and you'll do that on the wrong side of your work. And then just cut off that yarn and keep on going. And here's how our triangle pennant is knitting up. You'll see that for me, I decided to change yarn colors every 8 rows. And I'm knitting it up. There's 6 little stripes there. I'm going to bind it off after I do 24 rows. And the stretchy bind off, it's really simple. You start by knitting 2 stitches together. And then the stitch that you created on your right needle, you're going to slip it over to your left needle. And you'll see the instructions are written between asterisks because we just repeat this. So now again, we are going to knit these 2 stitches together. And then once they're knit together, that 1 stitch on the right needle, you just slip it to the left needle. And keep repeating this pattern all the way down the row for your stretchy bind off. And at the end here, we're just going to do it one more time. It is knitting 2 stitches together and then just slipping 1 stitch to the left needle, and then we get to break our yarn, just cutting it right here, and with our tapestry needle, we are going to weave in our ends. And that's how you do the stretchy bind off. I think it looks really great. Once you've knitted up the number of triangles for your pennant banner that you'd like, it's time to attach them. You can get really creative. I am using some ribbon for mine for a little extra patriotic flair. And then on the ends, I'm just going to attach some yarn. I think twine would also look really good. You can totally attach your little triangles however you would like. I hope you are inspired to knit up this pennant banner as well. Check out my entire 4th of July ideas as well as my summer knitting series, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye!